Alright, welcome back, Team TWC. It's your boy TWP Popcorn. Y'all already know what time it is. 10 a.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday, 6 p.m. Wednesdays. That's when you come look for your boy because you know it's another day in paradise. Shout out to everybody coming through. Upstate, good morning. How you doing? Y'all know Upstate was rolling the joint. He said it's about as big as one of them fucking cigars. You dig? Yeah, shout out to them comments on them highlights because them highlights get views. That's why they get played. We put them up. So I'm doing YouTube Studio versus Rumble Studio. That way I got clips and highlights. You dig? Shout out to getting them verticals in because you know how we do. We do. Anyways, I got this over here. This situated. Got this over here showing our video sponsors. Shout out to Dubby. Y'all know to click that Dubby link. It's actually an affiliate program, so if you don't want to go and buy nothing, you should at least go sign up for the affiliate program. So you got you a sponsor with an affiliate link in your chat. You see what I'm saying? Get you some money from somebody. They'll pay you for every percentage of the sales you make for them. So, you know, you make them videos, you might as well stop and drop the W link. Shout out to the W, though, because like I said, they still have their affiliate program open. So if y'all don't get over there, that's on y'all. I told you. That was a big homie, gave you a free one. You dig? Oh, yeah, I'll definitely be stopping by later on. Hell, y'all know I'm putting in homework. Therefore, you know you got to get out here and get in your own work. Let's see what we gonna do as far as videos for today. We got a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? They probably already ready to go because you know how I do. Shouts out to the analytics though. Let's stop by the studio, show you what's going on over here. We done hit 1,425 subs now. That means we're up six because a couple days ago we was right underneath 1,420, which was good for it being right before 420. But now we done went way past that. Shouts out to 425. You dig? Appreciate that. Like I said, the highlight videos are actually doing good. So we're gonna keep them popping. Shout out to the OG from the AZ. Y'all know the big homie Pilgor in the building. Appreciate him and Dopey spending a little bit of time with us today. We just, you know, finna get into the videos because you know how we do. We'll probably be in the garden at some point because you know I'm clocking in for the day. You know how I do. I'll do at least hour-long videos because I'm gonna watch an hour worth of videos. Y'all see that Spider Pig video right there in my recommended playlist because we was just watching ourselves because you know that's what we do. We record the live and then we'll rewatch it on our other channel. So hey, y'all know it's Super Saturdays with me, so I wake up early just to start talking about shit with y'all. So if you don't get over there, you're missing a lot. You dig? Shout out to the people that be missing stuff, because I feel sorry for your mother. Yeah, what happened? Your son out here missing shit. Because, hell, we had Super Saturdays. Hell, if he didn't want to watch what I was watching, he could have told me what he wanted to watch, and I'd have made him a video. Hell, would have kept him out of trouble. But you know how they go. Not everybody's ready for that type of fun and entertainment. Let's see. Here we go. We'll start right here with our intro video. Shout out to the big homie did this beat for me. He keep me popping with them beats. You dig? Keeping them rocking. Bars.
Yo, I've been hitting that indica strain when it gets in my brain, then it isn't the same. I'm twisting the flame. Grind up the cess is definitely beneficial for the pain. That medical chain, never synthetic, you know photosynthesis getting the blame. Blowing dough legit if you switch up your state. I load a piff and I'm drifting away when I'm out in the springs. When a mountain's a king, I'm counting the ounces they bring. They offer that kush. They blow in that bush, they bout it, no doubt it's a thing. I'm jacking the scythe. Living in Colorado over half of my life. I came from Arvada back in the day. Had a habit for packing a sack in a pipe and blowing that in. Duh. Duh.
Okay, easy ebb and flow. Shout out to
An
this
ebb and
system.
flow
I was
hydro table is one of the
overly
easiest
interested
ways
with
to
this when I first was digging and
automate your
doing my
growing, get
research.
explosive growth, even in a small space. But if you don't control your environment, all of that extra water can wreck your humidity and throw your whole grow off track. Today I'm setting up an ebb and flow system in a 2x4 tent, showing you exactly how to build it step by step, breaking down the pros and cons of hydro, and I'm going to give you some pro tips that will keep any grow environment in check. So if you're thinking about going hydro, or you just want to take your grow setup to the next level, then you're in the right place, because this might change the way you grow. So I've spent about 8 years working in commercial cultivation facilities and growing at home, testing all kinds of different setups. And over the years, I've helped thousands
So
of
those
home
better be
growers start their
tomatoes.
first grow with my Beginner's Grow Guide series. But now we're stepping
That
it up and
keeps it
taking all
highly
of that grow
entertaining. Shouts
knowledge
out to
even further. And if you've been thinking about
the Strange
hydroponics,
Show.
ebb and flow system or a flood and drain table is one of the easiest ways to get started. So let's break it all down and look at how this works. An ebb and flow system might sound complicated, but at its core, it's just a few very simple parts. There's a water pump to move water from the reservoir to the plants, a plastic tote as a reservoir, a wire shelving unit as a sturdy table, a flood tray that holds the plants, and a little bit of tubing and some flood and drain valves that control the water flow. Water from the reservoir gets pushed up into the tray by the water pump, and the water floods the entire grow tray, and that soaks the roots of all of the plants sitting in this grow tray. Then after a certain amount of time, it automatically drains back down to the reservoir. It's fully automated, there's no hand watering, and there's perfect oxygenation between flood cycles. But how do you build this? Let's go step by step and let me show you how this all comes together. So at the heart of it all is this small water pump and this digital timer. These parts are going to make the entire flood and drain system fully automated. Then there's the reservoir. This reservoir is just a 14-gallon plastic tote from the hardware store. These are affordable, they're easy to work with, and they hold plenty of water. And these can be adjusted depending on whatever size tent or whatever size grow space you have. This one was just the perfect size to fit under my table, and it held just enough water for what I needed. Next is the table. And for my table, I just have a wire shelving unit that sits over the reservoir. And I only use like the bottom 3 feet of it. And I zip tied some PVC pipes to the very top just to widen it a little bit to help stabilize the flood table when it goes on top. Then there's the flood tray. I'm using a 4x2 flood tray, which is the perfect size for my tent. But this flood tray I have has these nice built-in drain grooves that direct the water flow right to the drain holes. So now that everything is in place, all we have to do is get the water from the reservoir pumped up into the table. And then we have to give it a hose for it to drain from the table and go back into the reservoir, and it's just going to go in a circle. So the first step is we got to do some drilling. I drilled holes in both sides of the lid of the reservoir for the flood and drain hoses. I also added these little rubber grommets, which are super common in hydro systems, just to give me a really nice seal around my water hose so there's no light or air leaks. Then I had to drill holes in the flood tray. Again, this gets a hole in the far left side and the far right side, and this is where our water will come in and out of the table. Next, we have to install the flood and drain valves. And even though these are called valves, if you look through the middle of them, it's really just an empty tube. It's really just a hole for water to come in and out. But they're sized perfectly for you to slip on your water hoses, so these are important. These valves have little rubber grommets to keep them watertight, and you can just screw them on with your hands, and that's good enough. And after that, all that's left is hooking up your rubber hose. One hose goes from the drain valve to the reservoir, and one hose goes from the pump to the fill valve. You can see on the way to my fill valve, I have a couple of 90-degree angles just to keep my hose from like getting bent and kinked, but you don't have to do all of this. As long as it has a nice flow from the table to the pump, that's fine. And I did throw a big air stone in this reservoir too, just to aerate my water and give me some bubbles in there and help mix the nutrients. And when I say big, I use like a really big air stone. If you compare it to the little ones they send with the air pump, the one I'm using looks huge. But all you do with the air stone is just throw it in the reservoir. And
He said, I got a big boy air stone in that piece. I want that bug to have plenty of this. Like he said, it's keeping his nutrients mixed, which is one of those things that keeps your pH self-balancing, because as long as you got good airflow, it'll keep your pH within that 5.8 to 6.4 range that you're trying to keep it in anyways, because things is moving around, and once you got it there, it's easier to stay there with it moving around. Stagnant water is what swings your pH the most. It'll either take it up high or keep it low.
it just bubbles the water. It's very simple. And it's
Well,
really
Coach
important that we
Sherry.
use black tubing for all of this, for our water line and our air line. This black tubing is going to block light and prevent algae growth.
Like you can see in this clear airline, there's just some really nasty stuff growing in there because some moisture got in there and then the light got to it. So black hoses are always best. And this setup is super simple. After you get it up and running, it basically just takes care of itself. But with putting it together, there are like a few specific things you need to get and you need to do. So if you want to build this yourself, I did make a step-by-step breakdown with all the little details, like the little pieces and all the little steps to take and how to avoid some common mistakes. And I put it over on thestrangeshow.com. So check the link in the description because I laid all of this out to make things a little easier for you so you don't have to guess your way through it. And once it's set up, this is how it works. The water pump sits underwater in the very bottom of our water reservoir. This is plugged into a timer that tells it when to come on and when to turn off. When the timer comes on, this is our flood cycle. The water pump now forces water up through the hose and into the flood tray. And as the tray begins to fill with water, any plants that are sitting in the tray now get submerged in this water and nutrient solution. And this water continues to rise and rise and rise until it gets to the drain valve. When the water level finally reaches the height of the drain valve, it can now pour over the top and into that hole where it goes right back into the reservoir and starts the cycle over again. But this system is really simple and it's really efficient. And that's why you see it in huge commercial grow spaces. They use this technique to grow all kinds of stuff. But it can also work really good right here in my little 2x4 tent at home. And I can get the same kind of results we get in big commercial facilities. And there's some pros and some cons to a flood and drain table, so let's look at both. For the pros, first there's faster growth because your plants get nutrients directly to the roots. You also need less grow medium because you don't need any heavy soil bags, just some hydrogen pellets or some rock wool cubes. There's also automation. There's no hand watering at all. You just set your flood cycles and let the system do all the work for you. And there's also consistent feeding. So your plants are always getting the same feeding at the same time and they're always getting plenty of oxygen right to their roots. But what about the cons? Because there are a few downsides. And the first is just that this system is going to require some monitoring. You're going to need to check your pH and your EC pretty much every day in a hydroponics system. There's also the potential for leaks. If you set this up wrong, water can flood the wrong part of your grow room. You could have 20 gallons of water leak out all into your room, and you don't want that. But the real concern that I had with this setup before I got it all going was the humidity. Because the major humidity control for this system, because all of this water in the tent is going to evaporate really quickly, which can really throw off my VPD. And setting up our environment is extra important in a grow space like this because, like most home growers, I'm just growing in a small spare bedroom. This room is like 7 feet by 7 feet, so I really only have the space for this small 2x4 tent. But even though this 2x4 tent doesn't take up much room, I'm still going to be able to get a big harvest out of it through this flood and drain system. Plus, we're going to be adding in a few other things along the way to juice it up, so we got some cool stuff on the way. So I'm using the new Vivasun tents. The 2x4 is the one I have, and you've probably seen this same tent on the channel before, but the old version I only had one little beef with it, and that was that it would get just a little bit of light leaks around the zipper sometimes. But now they've added little black flaps all around the zipper, so now there's no more light leaks, which is very good. Plus the new zipper just goes like all the way around the tent, so it makes assembling everything much easier. And I have everything else you would expect too. I have my oscillating fans, I have the carbon filter and my exhaust fan. I'm running the 200 watt aero light. The kitty inspected the light and he said it's nice and safe. Oh yeah, this is Elbow. He's a cat. He doesn't have hair. Elbow's gonna be our campus inspection officer through this whole grow. He's just gonna make sure everything is nice and safe and up to code. He also helped me check the clearance between my reservoir and my table, and he made sure my modification.
Wait a minute, he's got a hairless cat? That's fucking Lord Beerus. Shouts out to extending our Super Saturdays to the TWP show. We got a special appearance by Lazy Cat, aka a God of Destruction, Lord Beerus. I mean, I'm having a good time if y'all ain't. I mean, shit. Forget about it.
Were safe and all of my zip ties were secure. So the light passed Elbow's inspection, and this light has something really cool right in the middle of the light that's going to help us a lot later, especially in this kind of grow setup. But the key to making all of this stuff work together and dialing in the perfect environment is the Grow Hub controller. The Grow Hub automatically adjusts your fan speeds and your airflow and humidity, and it lets you keep your tent in that perfect range to get explosive growth. So we talked about the importance of temp and humidity in the beginner's grow guide, but if you really want to take this to the next level, now we have to focus on our VPD. Because if we don't have our VPD dialed in, our plants will just never grow to their full potential. VPD, or vapor pressure deficit, is a measure of how much moisture the air can still hold before it becomes fully saturated. It's the difference between the actual humidity in the air and the maximum humidity the air could hold at that certain temperature. And this directly affects how your plants breathe. And you can sort of think of this like if you were sitting outside when it was really hot. Imagine if you were outside somewhere where it was really hot and really dry, like the desert. It's so dry and so hot that all of the moisture is leaving your body so fast that you just can't drink enough water. You just can't stay hydrated. Ugh, you're just dying. You can't make it. That would be an example of like a high VPD. The water is leaving your body too fast. And then a low VPD would sort of be like the opposite. Imagine if you were in hot jungle where it was super humid. All of the sweat on your body seems to just sit there. It doesn't even evaporate to help cool you off. You're just miserable and you're just and you're I can't make it. I'm too humid. That would be like a low VPD. The water isn't leaving your body fast enough. And that's sort of how these plants work too. I mean, it's a little different, but now that you know that, I can explain how it works in plants. So on a plant's leaves, there are little microscopic openings called stomata. These stomata open and close, allowing your plant to breathe. When your VPD is in the right range, your stomata stay open longer, allowing your plants to absorb more CO2, which boosts their photosynthesis and fuels faster growth. This also releases excess moisture, preventing mold and rot from forming. It also is able to take in nutrients better this way, because when your plant is able to transpire water, that's what it's doing. It's pulling water from the soil or from the roots, taking it through the plant, and then transpiring the water out of the top of the leaves. And if the environment is too humid for any more water to go into it, the stomata is just going to close. That means you're not pulling up any nutrients or any water into your plants, so they're not growing very fast. When the air is too wet, stomata stay closed, slowing your CO2 absorption and photosynthesis. This can lead to weak growth, nutrient issues, and an increased risk of mold. And if your VPD is too high, meaning that your air is too dry, then your plants are going to lose water too fast. They're just pulling it up like crazy trying to keep their leaves from wilting. And they usually can't keep up, so you get wilted leaves, curled leaves, slow growth, just unhappy plants in general. Sometimes they'll even look okay. You just haven't realized that they're not really growing anymore. They're just sort of halted because of the environment. Plants grow so slow that it's hard to look at one and say, oh, are you growing right now? And that's why controlling your VPD isn't really optional if you want those top tier results.
You just gotta
If we want
stop
our
and
plants
ask
to
you,
grow the
are we
fastest
growing,
and
man?
strongest and the best
Are
they
we gonna
can,
make
we
it?
need
You've
to
been
get
looking
this
the
in
same
check.
for like a
And
couple
that doesn't
months.
matter if you're growing hydro, if you're growing soil, if you're growing cocoa. This applies to all plants in any growing method in all situations. And you can see how important this is if you just look on the controller. Right on the Grow Hub, it lists my temp, my humidity, and my VPD. If I look on the Grow Hub app, it also gives me my VPD right there on my app. And there's a reason they give you this information. It's because it's so important. But with controllers and apps and all of this new gear, this really isn't that hard. The controller measures the temperature and humidity constantly, giving me my VPD reading so I can see if it's in the optimal range no matter where I'm at. And it automatically adjusts my airflow, so if my humidity spikes too high after a flood cycle, the inline fan just kicks in to exhaust all the extra moisture, keeping my environment just right. I got my oscillating fan in the tent that helps control any little pockets of humidity in between my plants. And this grow light I'm running has something really sick that's gonna probably help me a lot in this grow. These aero lights have a built-in fan right in the center of the grow light. And this is gonna help me move a lot of air right there in the top of my canopy, right where you're the most likely to get bud rot, especially when you're dealing with extra humidity like I am. I know that whatever I've set up, my grow tent is just gonna be that way because it's all automatic. That's what I love the most about this new grow, is everything is gonna be all automatic. But none of this gear and none of the flood and drain stuff is even gonna matter if we don't start off with strong seedlings. But I just found a brand new seed starting method that has changed everything for me. Not only did I get insane results, but I really put it to the test with some of the most messed up seeds I've ever seen. And the results I got were pretty crazy. You have to see this. This is going to take your seed starting game to the next level. So if you've ever had problems with seeds, don't miss this video. I'll see you there. Peace.
Let's see, I already know what video I was working on. Shit.
This is my
Uh-oh. Shout out
first
to
layer of color.
Melinda
So I
Elliott, a
need
level
to
2 Bobby and Coffee member. Y'all know to go check
maybe
out
go
Melinda
back in and
Elliott.
fill in a few
Usually in the
little
morning times, she
spaces.
does a morning
But
live on her ride to work.
I'm supposed to
Appreciate that.
start with the
Know when to go
light
looking for,
color
right?
first. And the skin first if I can. Well, really the lightest color on the page first. And the skin appears to be the lightest color on the page. And, yep, this is my first layer. I'm going to go on to my second layer. So here is my second layer, starting to do some shadowing. And then I have a third, even darker layer around the edges. So right now, I put in my darker color, and I am using my lighter colors to do some blending and try and make it a little bit smoother.
It's like the first time I actually
Just
saw
got a
that
few
color
more
change
minutes
on
to
there.
work, and then I bring
Hey,
this
she's
over.
definitely getting good at that coloring though.
From a distance, which is generally how you view a picture that you framed and put on your wall, the coloring doesn't look too bad.
Galaxy Solutions,
Closer
good
up,
to
it
see you. How you
looks to me
doing?
like I need to do more blending, but yeah, considering it's the first adult coloring I've done, at least it's a good start.
Oh, this was a good topic when I seen it the other day.
Now, a policy memo from an American industry retail group argues that herbs should be regulated just like booze, and that liquor stores should be the only places allowed to sell the good herb. Now, we've got a few examples of this to discuss right here in America, but let's start off in Canada because they floated this idea almost 10 years ago.
As the federal government moves to legalize, two major BC liquor stakeholders are pushing to see recreational sold in existing government and private liquor stores. The BC Government Employees Union and the BC Private Liquor Store Association are proposing this idea, and they're aiming to see it happen by next December, that assuming Ottawa succeeds with its legalization plan. They say their stores are best positioned to do this.
What we offer is experience, and we believe that non-medical should be sold in the most socially responsible manner in an age-controlled environment with the strongest track record of checking identification, and that's what we bring in the liquor industry.
They say the tax revenue from pot could fund a number of programs, including addiction treatment and general health funding, and they emphasize this is only for recreational.
So that was over in Canada and almost a decade ago, but let's bring it right back home because according to this article, which was published only a few days ago, alcohol retailers say only they should be able to legally sell herb products. Now this is according to a new policy memo from an American alcohol retail industry group, and they argue, and I quote, states should restrict the sale of intoxicating THC products to businesses licensed to sell beverage alcohol and that are regularly inspected for compliance with laws aimed at preventing sales to individuals under 21. And I mean, I can understand that because a lot of people have concerns with stores that are selling to underage kids. But the article goes on to say, and I quote, the group contends that alcohol retailers with many decades of proven compliance are best positioned to sell these products. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about that. Grabbing my herb from a liquor store, usually I'm not sure that people would like that.
Well, you already know what I say. You got some jackasses out here that's gonna sell the kids regardless, because I've seen people sell the kids. And you just looking at them like, damn, you really that fucked up. You know this person look like she's 12. Yeah, if you can't tell that she look like she's 12, then they all look like they damn grown. Yeah, but they don't all look like they damn grown. That's crazy. Hell, kids. Well, unless you was 12 with a full beard, then of course, sir. Here, have a nice day. This man's already grown a full
But then
beard.
some people may be
I'm
open to the idea. I know a lot of herbalists that are really ital and vital, and they do not like alcohol. So having to go to an alcohol store to get their herb may not be the best fit for them. Now, personally, I think the existing setup of medical or recreational dispensaries is a lot better. because at the end of the day, you're heading out to get your medicine. Now, I want to show you guys a liquor store that got a license to sell herb, and they had to make a bunch of changes. But before we do that, let's have a look. This is what they call the joint venture, where a Massachusetts liquor store actually wanted to sell herb.
A number of Massachusetts liquor stores want a piece of the pot pie. Once retail sales begins, some liquor store owners have expressed interest in a one-stop shop business model, offering both alcohol and legalized. The Massachusetts Package Store Association voted unanimously in support of the joint venture, giving liquor store owners permission to apply for dispensary licenses. According to the Boston Herald, the association plans to remain neutral on the issue. A new control commission will determine regulations for shop licensing. The commission shall issue licenses first to applicants with the most experience operating medical treatment centers, and then by lottery among qualified applicants. 53% of voters approved a ballot initiative last year to legalize in Massachusetts. Adults 21 and over will be allowed to possess and use limited amounts of and grow as many as a dozen marijuana plants in their homes. If liquor stores are granted permission to sell, they could be setting a new precedent across the country. Other states with legalized recreational sales, including Alaska, California, and Oregon, prohibit those sales in liquor stores.
So Massachusetts wants a piece of the pot pie with this joint venture. You guys, I just can't get over the puns, but they're really, really bad. Now, like I said, I want to show you guys a liquor store that actually converted to be able to sell some of these herbal products. So let's have a look at that before we hop back.
Well, he's cutting words because it still gives his content the YouTube fucking guidelines. He's keeping it within guidelines. So as long as he clips that word at certain points, he can actually do other stuff, as in keeping the video somewhat monetizable, because you know some of these channels are monetizable. So following the guideline rules, if they tell you not to use certain words, they tell you not to use certain words. So you can talk about the topic, but you can't say certain words type shit, which exactly why we have Buy Me a Coffee. Shouts out to the Buy Me a Coffee, because that way their censoring of certain words or speeches is no longer actually having to be put up with. Because yeah, you ain't got to monetize a video. I can say whatever I want on YouTube, and then they'll hit me with the, oh, this is over 18 because of what you said, and then that's really what they do. They'll just make it an 18 plus video, which means the monetization on it is available, but it's lower. So you know, it's semantics. So you got to work behind the scenes and do that, all of that, because like I said, he this is his newer channel, which where most of his content is technically monetizable because how he presents it with his format. You see what I'm saying? That's why he has certain words bleeped out over here. He's not doing everything that he does on his other channel. So yeah, he came with a clean channel. It's a clean channel. You can talk about the subjects, but you got to know how to talk about it to keep it clean. And he's putting out the information, but that's the part that gets most people. Like, why is that word bleeped out? Because he's trying to keep his video, well, not to where they'll ban it, but to where it's still monetizable. Because, like I said, you got to know the policies to, I mean, keeping up with the policies. I just don't care because, you know, I'm not getting monetized.
Back into Colorado and see what's going on over there.
The intention on the entryway is one way in, one way out, but done in a way that's, we call it privacy without barriers. So by federal law, people cannot see in here who are not 19 years of age or over. So we frosted the glass on the way in to allow enough natural light to get in here, but at the same time provide that privacy that we're required to deliver based on federal law. Well, having beverage alcohol and sold within the same box is very new. It hasn't been done to my knowledge anywhere else in the world. And so it's going to make it a very different in retail environment than you'll experience in any other jurisdiction, certainly in Canada, that I'm aware of. And it does bring different challenges, as we've already talked to, but it's also very exciting because it allows us to integrate our workforces and save a fair amount on labor and use the same great expertise that we have as the NSLC. But the bigger challenge is really running the customer transactions through both locations. Our beverage stores are very busy stores already, and adding to it additional transactions for the side is definitely going to be challenging for us. And we're up for that challenge, but it's going to be some learning. Do people shop the same way? Do they come at the same time of day? How do they interact with our staff? It's going to be a very different experience. The average beverage alcohol transaction is 3 minutes. We expect the average transaction in here to start to be between 15 and 20. And hopefully we can get that down to about 10 minutes. But it's going to be a lot longer, which means it's going to be a much more challenging environment to move people through.
Now that's pretty interesting and a few things that you guys may not have thought of. But if you guys are getting value from this video, please do like, share and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or cop some merch from our merch store. But there are a few things in that clip which are pretty interesting. And a lot of people go into medical or rec dispose, and when they go in there, they're like, okay, I'm going to have a look around, make a decision on what I want to get. And usually the average time would be a little bit longer. I remember recently I went out to a dispo that I've never been in before with my homie Dusa, and I think we literally spent about 20 minutes in there before we made a decision as to what we want to get. Whereas if you go into a liquor store, it's probably a lot shorter of a time that you make making a decision about what you want to drink that night. Now, despite the fact that you may take longer to figure out what strain you want that night versus what type of beer you want to drink that night, a lot of people are actually drinking a lot less. And according to this article, the good herb is in and alcohol is out. And a lot of people are asking the question, is it actually Gen Z that's driving this big change? Because a lot of Gen Zers and myself as a millennial prefer herb to alcohol.
With recreational now legal in 24 states, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration is moving to reclassify the drug to a less dangerous category under the Controlled Substances Act. And for the first time, a new survey shows that daily users now outnumber daily drinkers. In tonight's Eye on America, Nikki Batiste reports that it's a development driven by Gen Z.
Behind this cloud of smoke is a new kind of office for Gen Zers.
Here, we smoke because it enhances our work. That's our secret sauce.
Work and Roll is a shared workspace in New York City where, for as little as $15, you can toke while you type. This downtown loft space is capitalizing on a trend among today's young workers. Forget after-work happy hour at a favorite watering hole. Weed is the new way to go.
I think this is like the mecca of the industry.
Matthew Everett, Golda Moldovsky, and Ella Sudak, all in their mid-20s, are like the 69% of people their age who say they prefer to alcohol, according to a research firm.
I transitioned over into because I saw that there's limitless possibilities with the flavors, and I found, like, hey, I don't have a hangover the next day, too.
Were any of you big alcohol drinkers?
I was, yeah.
So there you guys can see it's a massive change, but it's not just people who are token, but also people who have edibles, vapes, and dabs. You guys can definitely see a lot.
I mean, everybody knows I was a professional drinker, which means, I was the guy at the party that could handle his. Yeah, shout out to me being Big Me in the building. But I also was always the one who had the good tree in the building. So it was one of those deals for me. So yeah, I used to drink a lot, but now I don't even drink. I'll drink in celebration, but I don't just drink to get drunk. Although, like I said, I'm a professional at that. So, hey, I'm going to drink you under the table. Hell, y'all ass going to be doing something strange for a piece of change.
A lot of people across the world hitting more dabs than they were 10 years ago. Now, I want to show you guys an example where the script has been flipped and dispos are actually selling beer, but there's a catch. But before we get into that, let's have a look at Aspen, where they say they're actually selling more herb than liquor. Check it out.
For the first time, Aspen dispensaries are bringing in more money than the city's liquor stores. The Aspen Times found the latest number in the city's 2017 year-end sales tax report. Legal pot shops brought in $11.3 million, while liquor stores brought in $10.5 million. Revenue in Aspen was up 16% from 2016. That was the highest rate of growth of Aspen's 12 retail sectors.
So it's clear to see that some of these alcohol sales are going up in smoke, sorry for the bad pun, but it does turn out that as more states legalize, alcohol sales actually go down. Have a look at this.
Is killing beer sales buzz? According to Cohen and Company, researchers found that in states where is legal, beer sales are drying up. In Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, where recreational has been legalized, the beer markets have collectively underperformed in the last 2 years. Domestic brewers Anheuser-Busch InBev and Miller Coors have seen the largest drops. Sales of Coors Light and Bud Light dipped by 4.4% in Colorado and Washington. Budweiser and Coors dipped by 2.4%. Denver is the epicenter for the trading beer for weed trend, where beer volumes dropped by 6.4%. Consumers also appear to be coming down from their craft beer high. While larger crafts are keeping pace, smaller breweries are not performing as well. This as individual Americans' yearly spending on is outpacing alcohol. MarketWatch found that the typical male customer, who represents 70% of dispensary loyalty club memberships, spends about $647 annually, while female consumers spend about $634 each year. That's compared to an average of $645 a year on alcohol by adults, according to a survey from Headset. The growing trend of choosing over alcohol is expected to continue to rise as more states jump on the cannabis money train.
So as you guys can see, sales of herb are outpacing sales of alcohol, and a lot more people are actually using the herb on a daily basis compared to alcohol. And that's probably why this dispo over in Colorado is actually selling beer, but it's non-alcoholic beer. Check it out.
Dispensaries around the state are going to soon start selling beer.
It's a new recipe from the creator of Blue Moon. Hopes it's going to be just as successful. First of its kind, has a combo with THC with alcohol-free beer. Jamie Leary live in Arvada, and Jamie, this is about ready to hit the shelves.
It really is, and this is the top secret location where Saria Brewing created this beer recipe, but the beer, that's only half of it, and today we were able to visit the spot where they infuse it with tea and are currently prepping it for shelves.
Cannabis pro omnibus, cannabis for the people.
Keith Via could be retired by now.
Instead of becoming a people doctor, I became a beer doctor, went to Belgium, got my doctorate.
A good thing because he created Blue Moon. Everything from the brand to the recipe. But Keith didn't want to stop there.
This is the Napa Valley of craft beer, so what better place to have a beer made with cannabis?
He created Syria and then partnered with Keith, a company that specializes in THC-infused drinks. This is where the infusion happens. The pairing with beer is the first of its kind.
Never thought it was going to happen this quick or within my lifetime being a professional in this, so I'm just super excited to be a part of it.
So what about the actual taste?
You actually thought you were drinking beer.
Beer without the alcohol and around 64 calories. The total amount of THC, 5 milligrams.
My tolerance is kind of a little bit higher, I guess, but I would probably have to drink 3 or 4 to actually feel something.
If you're skeptical about trying THC, Keith believes this is a good introduction.
It's low dosed, micro dosed, so you can have 1 or 2 and not get stoned.
He hopes it becomes more of a social norm, just like any six-pack. And of course, Keith isn't stopping here. He has more plans for beer and THC.
I like to get out in the beer world and change the course of beer history.
The Belgian-style brew is expected to hit the shelves before the new year. Keith also plans to release a 2.5 milligram lager as well as a 10 milligram IPA.
So as you guys can see, Big Pharma is trying to get in, but also Big Bear is trying to get in. And I'm not talking about Big Bear, Brother Bear. I'm talking about Big Alcohol Bear, IPAs and craft brews. They're trying to get in as well. And what they're doing is actually trying to promote some alcohol-free products that are actually THC infused. So it's pretty interesting. Now, they're not the only one trying to get in on this model, as also states like New Hampshire are trying to use this model when it comes to legalization. Have a look.
New Hampshire is moving a step closer to legalizing. State lawmakers agreed to study a new plan for selling recreational, kind of the way they sell alcohol in state liquor stores. For more on this, let's bring in the man who proposed it, the Republican governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, who joins us on the phone tonight. Governor, good to talk to you.
Thanks for having me on.
What's the advantage to selling like you sell liquor in New Hampshire at these state facilities?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that in play here. First, this is not. I've never been a big believer in terms of legalizing recreational, but the legislature is there. We're surrounded by, I think, 1,000 miles by states who have done it. Not only would the bill pass to let it happen, it would probably pass with the ability to override my veto. So while even though I might not like it, my responsibility is to set up a model that long-term is better than all the other states around us, that has the protections. And to your question, we have this liquor store model here where we control the retail, we control the locations, we control the marketing, we control the branding. And when you're talking about, you want to keep it away from kids, you want to make it accessible for adults, but you want to make sure it's not near schools. You want to make sure you don't have these miles, right, where you have like a pot shop on every corner like you see in some of these states. With us controlling the retail and the marketing and the branding side, we would be able to control all that. And we do it really well. Our New Hampshire liquor stores are ranked one of the top 5 retailers in the country.
So you guys saw that right there for yourselves. There are only 4 states that are still against the herb, but also under this model, the state will control the retail, the marketing, and the branding for everything. And you guys may already be able to see some problems when it comes to that.
So we have a model that works. Other states don't really have that. And so we can build off of that to provide the protections that we want in something that really needs protections, right? You're still dealing with a regulated drug and all of that. But knowing it's going to happen, we just got to design the best system for the long term.
So today's topic has been really interesting, and personally, I know where I stand when it comes to my preference as it pertains to alcohol versus the good herb. I'm going with the good herb every single time and twice on Sundays. But drop it in the comments down below and let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Would you guys be okay with grabbing your herb from a liquor store or not really? Drop it and let me know. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's also a model being proposed right now, right here in America, which will give the government full control of the good plant. So have a look at that video because it's coming up right now.
Well, it's funny because they already sell both at the gas station, so what do you mean? If it ain't at the gas station, you already know it's a problem.
Wow, that's Snoop Dogg, the Godfather. I hit that blunt, I'm going to see the Father. Damn, Earth was cool. Oh, this gas, 93 octane. God, take me now. Hey, cool it. He got another one sparked already. He being unreasonable. This beyond me if he think I'm finna hit that blunt again. Heavens no, I'm high, bucko. I'm puzzled. I'm finna give it right back to him and tell him I hit it 10 times already. I'm finna call 911 and report an attempted murder. He keep passing me blunts. He think we in a relay race. What a bummer. I'm finna put this out, and if he asks why, I'm gonna tell him I'm allergic to marijuana. Weed for me stand for with each exhale, I'm about to die. He gotta knock it off. I done already took 2 blunts. He done sparked a 3rd one. Smoke monster. I'm finna play sleep. I'm comatose. Big fella, you took that blunt to the head. Now you finna be in the nearest hospital bed. This ain't the move. I'm finna scoot. He a different
Said you could keep up with the homies.
So let's get back to the topic. I've got the garlic in there. I'm going to chop up this onion. I'm going to put a little bit of water, and I'm going to just let those saute down. Is sugar like crack? What do you all know about the studies? Have you seen any studies? Are you familiar with this, that sugar is addictive? And one of the main ways that we get it is in our ultra-processed foods. So anything that's processed or ultra-processed, for example, if you're eating a tomato, that's just a whole food. If you turn that tomato into ketchup, if you turn that tomato into any sort of sauce, then it's processed. And it may be ultra-processed, like a ketchup would be ultra-processed, because you can't even recognize it anymore. If it's salsa, that would be processed because it has been changed, but it's not ultra processed where there's been all these additives and all these different things happening with it. So we're just going to rough chop our onion and put that in the pan. And remember, we're sauteing these all with a splash of water. Christiana, can you bring me the liquid aminos, please? Thank you. So liquid aminos, I'm going to use those as the salt here to season this up, and let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Rambo is saying, dark vegetables and fruit come with extra stuff. Absolutely. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, right? But also the darker the berry, the sweeter the nutrients, like the darker the food. So Rambo is saying dark vegetables and fruit come with extra stuff. So eat lots of colors in fruit and vegetables and eat from all over the world. It's ours to eat. Absolutely. So that's another good way to look at it. You know, when you think about it, you just have to say, okay, I'm going to eat the rainbow, as they say, but why are you eating the rainbow? Because the phytonutrients in the different foods are different. So you get vitamin A and carotene in carrots or in any orange vegetable, you'll find some of those same properties. So like butternut squash or pumpkin, those orange foods. Of course, the green foods you have, especially those leafy greens, right? Rambo, thank you. Rambo says, I love some okra. Absolutely. So I can't remember if okra has calcium in it. I can't remember the specific nutrients, but that's the nice thing. When you're eating the rainbow, you don't have to like count calories. You don't have to worry about, am I feeding my loved ones? Am I being a superfood parent? How am I feeding my, nope, you don't have to worry about it. You just know that you're already doing great when you actually are consuming whole foods. Let's say if you're a vegetarian, like David Hunt, he's a vegetarian, so he tries to eat a lot of whole foods. But if David and Michelle are over there eating processed and ultra processed foods, you can best believe that's where the sugar is hiding. The sugar is in the processing. It's sort of like a preservative. They know that it appeals to people's palate. And that sugar in most things is what makes you come back for more. So last night,
You don't know to go check out the superfood parents?
why aren't you stopping for me? So I can pull somewhere safe. What's that? I'm not under the influence. It says it contains THC. I'm not smoking or anything. You just handed me THC. You can't have THC. Oh, that's not THC. It says it contains THC. Okay, and I'm not smoking. I'm not under the detained for what? Y'all already got me here because I'm not moving. You're moving. You're literally moving.
Oh shit. The hell, Bobby? Somebody slipped some bullshit in my playlist.
On May 22nd, 2022, a Campbell police officer observed a vehicle with expired registration since May 2021 in La Crosse, Wisconsin. The driver of the vehicle was identified as 26-year-old India James. The officer activated their emergency lights to conduct a traffic stop, but India continued to drive. Eventually, she turned into a McDonald's parking lot, ran over a curb, and ended up facing the squad car. The officer then positioned the squad car so India could not leave the lot.
Looks like we're stopping in the parking lot.
Upon approaching the vehicle, India claimed she was looking for a safe place to pull over.
Why aren't you stopping for me? So I can pull somewhere safe. Okay, where I picked was safe over there. That's when I like. That was at the right there by the stop. That's why I did like this, and then I was all the way over this way. When a law enforcement officer turns its lights on, you need to stop. That's where I decided to stop you. Where I decided for you to pull over. That's where you need to pull over. Okay, you don't get to choose where to pull over. I thought I was gonna have to pull somewhere safe. That's why. Nope, that's why. That's why I did like this, and I was already on this side of the lane, so I guess I'm gonna turn right here, and then when I see they say no parking right there, that's why I pulled over right here and stuff like that. Okay. Well, future reference, no. Do you have a driver's license on you? No, ma'am. Do you have anything on you that identifies you? So you're not valid? Is that correct? I have a driver's license. Okay. Is this your vehicle? The reason I pulled you over was because the plates are expired. No, it's not. The plates that you have on the vehicle are expired. No, the Minnesota plates that you have on the vehicle are expired. No, no, no. Then they should, nope, stay in the car. They shouldn't be. They're right there. They shouldn't be on the Minnesota plates that are visible to me. They shouldn't be on the vehicle then. So I didn't know. Okay. My plate is on the vehicle. Okay, you can't see that one. Is it a temp tag? Yeah, it's on there. Okay, so then you shouldn't have another plate on. Right? I never took them off. I didn't never take them off. Okay.
Dispatch advised she did not have a driver's license, and her status is suspended for her driving record. When an assisting officer arrived on the scene, they observed marijuana on the front passenger floorboard of her vehicle.
Okay. So, these are expired. She's got this one that I never saw. I lit her up at the intersection. She decided to travel all over here. She's hitting curbs, and she came from Norwood.
Okay.
looks like it's hard to tell. There might be shade. I'll move her out of the way.
Okay. All right. So, have you been drinking or anything tonight? The way you were driving was just you're all over the road, and then you're hopping the curb over here. You're not pulling over when you're supposed to.
Pull me over. I'm not. And nothing. I'm looking for. I don't even drink. Never.
Are you under the influence of anything else?
Please, y'all, please not for me. Well, I can't even get reception.
Okay, well, I'm talking to you, so you don't need reception right now.
I do, because I feel like my rights has always been violated. I have my registration. Plates.
Yeah, but the reason that you're pulled over is because you have other plates on the vehicle. You can't be doing that. So
I did not know that. I would like.
And that's why I'm pulling you over to let you know.
Well, not a lot of times, but more than once, I've been pulled over in this car and they never said nothing about the plates.
What are you being pulled over for?
Traffic violation.
Okay.
All that you see on there.
Okay.
I don't have no connection.
So you don't have a driver's license, so you're not going to be able to drive away in the vehicle, correct?
Somebody, I'm going to the person with the driver's license. From work.
You're coming from work?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Do you have something on the floorboard over there that they're looking at?
He's talking about.
Yeah, why do that work? I gotta go pick him up. He look at a license.
What's that?
Yeah, type shit.
I'm not under the
What up, Doug? Good to see you. How you doing?
Already.
India denied it was marijuana and refused multiple times to exit her vehicle.
And I'm not smoking.
It says it contains THC.
I'm not smoking or anything.
Okay. Why don't you step out of the car, okay?
Well, no.
You just handed me THC. You can't have THC.
Oh, that's not THC.
It says it contains THC.
Okay, and I'm not smoking. I'm not under the influence.
But you can't have anything in the vehicle like that, whether you're smoking or not. Let me step out of the vehicle for me. You got THC in the vehicle. You just handed it to me. You're not.
That's CBD. Y'all violate my rights.
It says it contains THC.
Well, just let me get a video started and all of that.
Step out.
Wait. Okay, hold on. I'm not gonna resist. I'm not. I swear, I'm not gonna resist. I'm not resisting. I am. Please, I'm not resisting.
That's crazy.
I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I will. I will. Listen, I will.
You really going to jail? Just go ahead, go. Shit, you gotta get the car back out of the impound lot. That's gonna be a headache.
I'm not tensing up. Listen, look. Here, don't
Hopefully it wasn't Friday night.
It's behind my back. There you go. There's y'all is literally violating the fuck out of me. And I'm literally not resisting at all. Can I see the phone now?
No, you cannot.
Can I see my phone?
I can't. No.
Walk to the front of my car.
Why? Can I ask why y'all been so aggressive? Are y'all cameras on?
Yes.
I'm not being aggressive.
Do you have anything
I'm not being. My money, that's it. Oh my gosh. Oh. Detained for what? Here. Can I see my phone?
No.
I have children. I really need to see the phone. Okay. Do not get the phone. That's it. I need to go for to notify someone.
You're out of the jail probably.
The jail? Why?
We'll see how this goes.
Why would I go to jail?
Stop.
Y'all already got me here because I'm not moving.
You're moving.
You're literally moving.
No, because I'm asking questions and y'all.
You can't talk without moving.
That's it. I'm not doing. Y'all acting like I'm being resistant and I'm not. No, I'm not being resistant at all. Yeah.
Okay. Lean up against the car.
You unzipping me. I'm letting you unzipping me. Stop. Y'all do not have to be that rough, please. Please. That's all I ask.
Yeah. But see, it was a legit pullover and all that, but this is where they get into that bullshit, because why you trying to lean me on a hot-ass fucking car? Nah, we're not doing the lean me on the car, put me in the back seat. Yeah, fuck all that. Yeah, I watch my head. Yeah, shit, I'm not leaning on no hot-ass car. You got me fucked up. Although I'm definitely not resisting, but I'm just letting you know I'm not gonna do all that bullshit with leaning over the hood shit either, because, nah, nope. Ain't nobody got time to be leaning on no hot-ass hood of the car. Now, if they take me to the trunk of the car, I'm cool with that. If you try to sit me on the hot-ass hood, no, sir. Nope.
And y'all violating the hell just said
You have two
had
license plates on your car. One of which I can't see. One of which I can see is a
Can I
tire.
call someone?
No.
No, because I have children. Literally. Okay. That's it. Can you please take consideration? That's it. I'm not being disorderly or anything like that.
You want to stay on this side? Put your knees in the car, please.
So like,
where are your kids at?
We're at the hotel, so I really need to call somebody.
Who are they with?
They're with their sister right now.
With who?
Their sister right now.
Okay.
So can I please call somebody? That's it.
Shouldn't let the kids alone.
No, you're not.
Get your knees in
Can
the
you
car.
please not, please?
Get your knees in the car.
Should have had them in the
Miss
car.
Palmer, please. I'm not being disorderly.
Get your knees in
Can
the car.
you please
Should have tried to play it off that way. Like, now I got these
That
kids.
is like, you're being forceful. Please.
After searching her vehicle, they discovered 22 ecstasy pills, 6 grams of cocaine, 1 gram of marijuana,
Well, damn.
a digital scale, and nearly $2,500 in cash.
Shit, they pulled over the plug. She had them Fizzles, Washington. Shit, she just driving around doing so much.
Get my fucking car. Get the fucking car. I need to talk to my motherfucking kid. I need my phone.
No.
I need my phone.
No, you're in custody.
Okay, I didn't been to tell you before. Y'all can let me see my phone. I have children, period. That shit not right. I need my kids. I don't ask for that. You're abandoning my rights, bro. My kids, it's gonna take time. I need to contact my children. This is an emergency situation. I don't have to. It's gonna be hours. I'm not trying to be loud. I haven't been loud. I'm being loud now. For the simple fact, y'all not take consideration of children. Fuck me. Fuck anything I did. What? I'm talking about my children. That's it. Y'all not working with me. I haven't even been around. Fuck that. Huh? I need my children.
All right. Go ahead and step out of the vehicle. And you can go to the front of the car. And through the door.
India was charged with felony counts of possession with intent of designer drugs and cocaine. Misdemeanor counts of possession of
Intent
THC,
of designer drug.
resisting,
What?
and bail jumping.
Distributing. He said with intent of designing drugs, distributing. Come on now. I mean, I'm high, but I heard that part, right?
Take a seat.
The following day, India reportedly left 3 children, ages 10, 6, and 4, alone in a hotel room overnight and were absent from school. Thankfully, the children appeared to be fine. However, the room appeared to be in disarray and was extremely hot. Social workers who inspected reported multiple safety factors in the room, including items shoved in the heat register, clogged plumbing, a large knife sitting out, an electrical power strip plugged in, sitting on top of clothing, and laundry detergent not kept in a safe spot. The children were served breakfast by hotel staff and taken to school later in the day. Due to the fact that India made no attempt to alert anyone about children left in the hotel room, she was also charged with 3 counts of child neglect. Released on a $2,000 signature bond with conditions of drug testing, GPS monitoring, and no contact with her children, unless approved by Child Protective Services. Do you enjoy
did
our
say she
content
had
and
kids
want to
in the
see
room,
more?
so-
Join the Code Blue Cam Patreon
But she said she
for early
left them by
access to
herself,
ad-free
so-
videos, exclusive content not published
Damned
on
if you do,
YouTube,
damned if you don't
behind
with
the
that one.
scenes, and much more. By joining, it will help with the production, sustainability, and long-term viability of Code Blue Cam. See the link in the description for more information. We are truly thankful for all your support.
But at the end of the day, they booked her and then they released her on a fucking self-release bond. So she got arrested for all that dumb shit and really didn't nothing happen. That's crazy. Because then y'all already heard what happened. She didn't get nothing but house arrest, ankle monitor, the drug testing. And motherfucker, I got medical. How the fuck is there a drug test? That's one of my prescriptions. See, medical over fucking recreational right there for the win again.
Everybody in New York was calling to get down with Mr. Nice Guy. We met all kinds of customers, like this guy here. He's what we call an enhancement smoker, because he thinks that marijuana makes every activity that much better.
Casa su casa.
Observe.
You're Scarface, right?
Yeah.
I love Al Pacino, man. Did you ever see Son of a Woman?
Yup.
Have you ever seen Son of a Woman on weed? That's the way to see it, man. It's just whack.
$60, yo.
Cool, man. I got it. Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill on weed? Oh, there's some weird shit in there, man. There's a dude sitting in the bushes, man. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know. What? Red team go. Red team go. It's just some weird shit, man.
Yeah, you fucking crazy, yo.
Oh, it's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yo, wait. Dude, I'm gonna check out the stars later. It's really trippy. Especially on weed, man.
Marijuana business is growing in Missouri. As promised, the state has awarded licenses to 48 micro businesses.
KBC 9's Donna 7 spoke with one of the owners who hit the marijuana sales lottery.
Missouri residents have grown accustomed to the sight of dispensaries like this on the corner throughout the state. There are about 200 and more are on the way. Demand for marijuana is high in the state of Missouri. Lots of money being made, and the state is now trying to keep its word by spreading the wealth by awarding 48 micro licenses.
The micro industry in itself was really conceived with the passing of the recreational bill. Essentially, it's its own encapsulated market.
1,600 people in the state of Missouri applied. 48 were picked through a lottery. License winners like Tango Hotel Charlie had to meet certain requirements, including having a net worth of under $250,000.
You've been incarcerated for a cannabis offense, for example, or if you have a disabled veteran or any kind of service-connected disability, things like that.
The goal is to spread the bucks that come from the bud. The current laws make it a little bit difficult for micros to truly prosper.
I mean, other than just a couple more stores popping up as far as competition, it's a little bit of a different competition because we can only sell X, Y, and Z products. We can't sell A, B, and C products that are, already on the market kind of a thing.
Well, now that the approval process has been completed, there's still the matter of getting these businesses up and running, and we're told that in many cases this could take up to possibly a year. Dennis Evans, KBC 9 News.
The state is expected to award 48 more micro licenses over the next 2 years.
Chicago's all over the news for the war in the streets. But there's a city just a couple hours away that's taking the violence to a different level. The streets in St. Louis are so deadly, the cops don't even want to go down some blocks. And today, we're diving into some of the craziest beef going down in the city and why it's one of the most dangerous cities in America. The streets in St. Louis are full of killers, but two of the most savage dudes in the city were Adrian Lemons and Anthony Jordan. They were involved with a drug ring that was linked to at least 17 different murders in St. Louis. And their ties to the Mexican cartel made them even more dangerous. Anthony Jordan wasn't just killing people, though. He took the brutal violence in St. Louis to another level and even dissed the ops he killed by taking photos of them when they were inside funeral homes. One time, he even hid a dead body that was inside a funeral home. And Anthony Jordan kept photos and videos of everything on his phone. A lot of street dudes try to bribe cops and ease up the pressure. But Anthony Jordan even tried to get the feds on his side and wanted to bribe the U.S. Marshals. Anthony Jordan had people in the streets terrified of him. But his homie Adrian Lemons was the one calling the shots. The drug game is huge in St. Louis. and Adrian Lemons linked up with the Mexican cartel back in 2012 and started bringing in weight from Mexico. Adrian Lemons and Anthony Jordam became two of the biggest dealers in the city, and when the feds finally busted them, they found over 60 kilos of cocaine and 1.3 million in cash. It took the feds years before they could catch Adrian Lemons and Anthony Jordam, though, and while Anthony Jordam was free, he pulled the trigger on at least 9 people and left them dead in the street. The first shooting that the cops pinned on Anthony Jordam was a brutal triple murder that went down in 2008. On April 20th, 2008, the cops responded to a shooting in North St. Louis and found a whip with bullet holes all over it. The car was still running when the cops pulled up, and they found the dead bodies of Al Walters, Lenny Jackson, and Keith Burks inside it. Anthony Jordam allegedly thought that Al Walters was working with the cops, so he slid on him around 2 in the morning and killed him. Al Walters was the one that Anthony Jordam wanted to take out, and Lenny Jackson and Keith Burks were just in the wrong whip at the wrong time. Then in 2010, Anthony Jordam caught 2 more bodies when he killed Marquise Jones and Kiara Johnson. Marquise Jones and Kiara Johnson were riding around the city together and spotted some friends. Marquise and Kiara slowed down and waved at their homies, and that's when Anthony Jordam upped his strap and killed both of them. Anthony Jordam had been following Marquise Jones because he thought Marquise was giving info to the cops, and a couple seconds after Marquise stopped his whip to talk to his homies, Anthony Jordam rolled up next to his car and lit it up with an AK-47. There were more shooters in the crew, but Anthony Jordam was the one who was really tearing up the streets in St. Louis. In 2013, Anthony Jordam spotted a dude named Anthony Clark sitting in a whip on the side of the road. Anthony Jordam used his car to block Anthony Clark from leaving. Then he dumped a bunch of rounds into Anthony Clark's whip and killed him in broad daylight. Adrian Lemons was the dude calling the shots in the crew and didn't slide as much as Anthony Jordam. But a couple months after Anthony Jordam killed Anthony Clark, Adrian Lemons and Anthony Jordam slid on a dude named Byron Ertz and killed him. Anthony Jordam had already killed 2 people in the same year, but he was about to up the score again and take out 2 more. Just a few weeks after he killed Byron Ertz, Anthony Jordam slid on an op named Robert Parker and started shooting. Anthony Jordam killed Robert Parker, but then an innocent woman named Clara Walker got caught up in the situation. Anthony Jordam was shooting Robert Parker on the street right outside of Clara Walker's crib. Clara Walker was inside watching TV with her kids, but she went to the window when she heard shots going off, and one of the bullets that was supposed to hit Robert Parker missed him and killed Clara Walker instead. The cops still couldn't catch Anthony Jordam, even though he had already killed 8 people. And a few weeks after he murdered Robert Parker and Clara Walker, Anthony kept up his brutal killing spree and murdered a dude named Mikhail Yellow Matt Gridiron. Adrian Lemons and Anthony Jordam both ended up getting booked by the feds, but they weren't even the most violent crew in the city. But before we get to the crazy murders going down right now, you gotta understand why St. Louis was the murder capital of America. Back in the day, St. Louis was one of the most important cities in America. There was a lot of money coming in and out of the city, and that's why the mafia involved. The mafia came to St. Louis all the way back in the 1890s and started leaving bodies in the streets. The violence calmed down for a few years, but then all the Italian gangs started killing again during Prohibition. A dude named Alphonse Palazzola was one of the biggest mafia bosses in St. Louis, but the ops still murdered him. A dude named Vito Gianola allegedly put it back on his head. And a few months after Palazzola got killed, his homie slid on Vito Gianola and shot him 37 times. St. Louis had a lot of problems with the mob, and it also had one of the most violent bank robberies in history. Fred Bowerman was a bank robber who ended up on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list in 1953. Bowerman robbed banks all over the country, but in April 1953, he ended up in St. Louis and didn't make it out alive. Bowerman and 3 other dudes walked into a bank on the south side of the city and tried to hold it up. At first, everything was smooth, and the crew was about to get away with $140K in cash. But what they didn't know is that one of the bank tellers had tripped a silent alarm. When Bowerman and his crew were about to leave, over 100 cops surrounded the bank. Bowerman and his homie started shooting at the cops and hit one in the head. Then Bowerman took a hostage and held a shotgun against her while he walked out of the bank. Bowerman shoved his hostage away though, and that's when the cops started shooting back and killed him. After Bowerman went down, his homie Frank Vito shot himself before the cops could get him. Eventually, less money started coming into St. Louis, and a lot of white people began leaving. The people left behind were mostly poor and black, and a lot of them were living in deadly projects where drugs were taking over. A dude named Terry Joe Cooley started running heroin through the projects in the 70s and became one of the biggest drug lords in the city. Terry Joe Cooley was driving flashy cars and wearing diamonds and fur, but all the money put a target on his back, and he ended up getting murdered in a crazy situation. Terry Joe Cooley wanted to take over the whole drug game in St. Louis and run the city. He started out pushing heroin in the projects, and he was taking out everyone who got in the way. Terry Joe Cooley had a lot of power, but he was making a ton of enemies too, and that's why he got murdered with his wife, his son, and one of his homies. After Terry Joe Cooley was killed, the violence in the projects got even worse. A dude named TJ Ruffin started running the same projects. TJ Ruffin had a lot of ops too, and they tried to take him out while he was sitting in the bar. Two brothers caught TJ lacking at the bar and up their straps, but TJ took one of their guns and killed both of them on the spot. Everyone in the streets knew that TJ Ruffin wasn't the one to play with, but the ops weren't the only ones he had to worry about. After TJ Ruffin killed the two brothers, the cops were all over his case. They tracked TJ down at his girlfriend's apartment and heard shots when they pulled up. TJ had already spent a lot of time in prison and tried to shoot his way out of the situation instead of getting locked up again. After TJ started shooting at them, the cops threw some tear gas inside the apartment and it sparked a fire. TJ still wouldn't come out though, and after the fire was extinguished, the cops found TJ and his girlfriend's bodies inside the crib. The murder rate kept going up, and it popped off like crazy in the 80s and 90s. After crack cocaine started getting pushed all over St. Louis, the gang crime went to another level and turned the streets into a war zone. Gangs from LA were moving into St. Louis, and that's when a lot of people started banging Bloods and Crips. But just like in LA, the situation wasn't that simple, and it isn't just Bloods beefing with Crips. Crews usually click up with other sets around the same hood, so you have Crips who beef for Crips, Bloods that beef for Bloods, and way more gangs all over the city. One of the most famous Crips from St. Louis is a rapper named 30 Deep Grimy. Grimy's whole family came from the trenches, and even his grandma repped the Crips. There's a lot of Crips sets in St. Louis, but 30 Deep Grimy and his family all rep the 6 Deuce East Coast Crips. The 6 Deuce East Coast Crips started in LA, and one of the things that makes them stand out is that they wear orange instead of blue. The Crips started out in LA, but the politics in St. Louis are way different. On the West Coast, the A-Trade Gangsta Crips and Rolling 60s have been at war for years. But in St. Louis, they're cool with each other.
The A-Trade Gangsta Crips and the Rolling 60s in St. Louis are friends.
Really?
They are down there at the same gang.
30 Deep Grimy popped off and became the face of drill rap in St. Louis. And it's even more brutal than the drill scene in Chicago. But the reason the music is so crazy is because of how deadly the streets are. 30 Deep Grimy saw his first murder when he was just 8 years old, and his little brother got killed while 30 Deep Grimy was locked up on a gun charge. Eventually, 30 Deep Grimy decided to hop in the booth, and then he dropped one of the most disrespectful tracks in the game. Back in 2019, 30 Deep Grimy dropped the track Dead Goofies and dissed a bunch of ops from all over the city. Grimy even dissed his own cousin, reps an op block, and raps, "Free little DJ from your section, cause you know you a bitch. Smoking on D, clutching my XD, while I cruise through the strip." 30 Deep Grimy told Genius he still has love for his cousin though. He said that he put in a lot of work for his side.
And my little cousin, he's from the op side. I love my little cousin though. Like my little cousin, he's been locked up most of his life. He put a lot of work in for his side.
Then on the same track, 30 Deep Grimy did an op with his own mom putting out hits and raps. Them niggas telling on each other, telling free Lil Tyrell, throw him a homecoming party filled with demons and shells. Grimy was talking about a dude named Lil Tyrell who got booked for a murder back in 2013. Two teenagers named Noah Barnes and James Moore were supposed to testify against Lil Tyrell. Then both of them ended up dead before the trial started. There were 4 other dudes wrapped up in the murder case too, but all of them walked free because the detective who was going to testify against them ended up dying from brain cancer. Then the situation took another wild turn when the news broke that Lil Tyrell's mom allegedly put the hits out on Noah Barnes and James Moore. 30 Deep Grimy was putting St. Louis drill on the map, but then he got booked on a gun charge, and the judge handed down a 7.5-year sentence right when 30 Deep Grimy was really starting to pop off. 30 Deep Grimy got so down with the gun charge, but this next rapper almost got locked up for life after he shot an op in the head. CTS Lil Wick is a white rapper from St. Louis who's been trying to make it in the rap game for a while. But what really got his name popping was when he got into a shootout in the middle of the street. Back in 2022, Lil Wick and his homies were riding mini bikes around the city when they were spotted by a dude named Joseph Shaw. Joseph Shaw was going the other way down the street, but then he hit a U-turn in his Jeep and pulled up next to Lil Wick. It's not clear what sparked the issue, but Joseph Shaw, the homie who was riding with him, up their strap and started shooting at Lil Wick and his homies. Lil Wick was ready for the smoke though, and he killed Joseph Shaw with a headshot. Lil Wick drove off and did the race for a couple months, but then the cops tracked him down and booked him on a murder charge. Lil Wick's name was all over the news and got more eyes on his music, but the prosecutors tried to use his lyrics against him in court. They tried to make Lil Wick look bad during the trial, but the prosecutors didn't really have a case. The cops found the gun that had been fired in Joseph Shaw's whip, and when they did the autopsy on him, they found that Joseph Shaw was tweaking on meth when he got killed. Lil Wick was facing life in prison, but he beat the case and got even more momentum in the rap game. His first day out track racked up over 1 million views, and Lil Wick started getting booked on big shows like No Jumper. A lot of people don't know how crazy
Oh,
St. Louis really
videos
is.
on no
But
jumper.
Lil Wick aired it all
Lord,
out when he went
please.
on No
Come on
Jumper.
now.
He said Glock switches are all over the city, and you can get one for like $150. There's a lot of kids running around with guns in St. Louis, and Lil Wick said he got booked for his first shooting when he was 13. According to Lil Wick, an older dude in the hood started flashing his gun at him. So Lil Wick pulls out his own gun and shot the dude. CTS Lil Wick got a lot of clout in the rap game for killing the dude and beating the case. But most rappers in St. Louis end up dead or in jail before anyone outside the city even hears about them. Swag Huncho was a rapper who had a crew called Three Problems with his homies Lil Tay and Rello. Swag Huncho wasn't just making music though, and a lot of sources claim he had at least 5 bodies. According to rumors, Swag Huncho backdoored a few of his own homies up, and that's why he ended up getting killed. Swag Huncho allegedly set up 3 of his homies just in
You done
2015.
backdoor some of the
People around
homies.
him
The other
knew he couldn't
homies
be
is
trusted.
supposed to take your
So
ass
according
out.
to
What the fuck you mean?
Swag Huncho's homie Blender Boo took him out. Swag Huncho had allegedly backdoored another dude from Blender Gang named Gino. So Blender Gang clapped back and took Swag Huncho out. A lot of people think Blender Boo was involved with Swag Huncho getting killed, and Blender Boo ended up getting murdered not too long after Swag Huncho died. There's a few famous rappers who made it out of St. Louis, like Sexy Red and Nelly. But everyone in St. Louis knows about Jizzle Bucks and Lil Half for something way crazier than their music. Jizzle Bucks and Lil Half both came up on the south side of the city and started hustling when they were just kids. They were always rapping too though, and both of them hopped in the booth as teenagers. Jizzle Bucks and Lil Half repped a crew called the 5-5 Boys, and they were known for always giving back to the community. They started getting some buzz in the rap game and were always loyal to St. Louis and wanted to help people out. Jizzle Bucks and Lil Half were known for flexing cash in cars, and they even opened up their own nightclub called Halftime. But what a lot of people didn't know is that they were destroying the city behind the scenes. St. Louis is a crazy problem with fentanyl and people dying from overdoses. Heroin and pills get laced with fentanyl, and it's so strong that it kills a lot of people before they can get help after starting to overdose. Jizzle Bucks and Lil Half made it look like they cared about the city, but at the same time, they were pushing huge shipments of fentanyl into the city and leaving all kinds of people dead from overdoses. Jizzle Bucks was popping off in the rap game too though, and in 2019, he linked up with King Von for the track What's Next. Jizzle Bucks and King Von both flexed about beating murder cases, and Jizzle Bucks rapped, "Beat a murder charge, nigga, what's next? I'll just call him prepaid and collect. Now I'm home, nigga, you should know the rest." And on the same track, Jizzle Bucks bragged about pushing fentanyl and raps, 3 spots, 20 daily on that crazy south. That brick of fen, $90. It came with a vouch. Shooters in my living room won't make it past the couch. Fez was in the living room, ripping up the house. Linking up with King Von was a big win, but Jizzle Bucks and Lil Half also started getting into some drama in the rap game. And at one point, they allegedly put hands on 30 Deep Grimy when they ran into each other. The 5-5 Boys kept popping off and linked up with Lil Baby, but there was some drama behind the scenes, and they tried to press Lil Baby when he showed up a couple hours late to a video shoot. The 5-5 Boys were moving like they were untouchable, but in 2024, it all came crashing down for them. The feds started investigating Jizzle Bucks, Lil Half, and the rest of the crew, and in 2024, 15 alleged 5-5 Boys affiliates were sentenced on drug and gun charges. When the cops raided the 5-5 Boys stash spots, they found over 20 guns, 120K in cash, and thousands of fentanyl pills. Jizzle Bucks got hit with 12 years, Lil Half went down for 11, and the rest of the crew are all going to be off the streets for years. The 5-5 Boys were one of the most powerful crews in the city because they had ties to other sets like the Young Project Goons, Team Knockout, The Strip, Pressure Gang, and more. But they weren't the only ones pushing fentanyl in St. Louis. Around the same time that the 5-5 Boys were getting taken down, the cops also booked a major dealer named Freeman Whitfield on a murder charge. Whitfield was running fentanyl, cocaine, and heroin through St. Louis, and he was working with another dude named Guy Goolsby. Guy Goolsby was the plug, and Freeman Whitfield was the muscle. They were moving tons of weight in St. Louis, and Freeman Whitfield decided to take out one of their own dealers. A dude named Antonio Boyd was one of the dealers who worked for Guy Goolsby and Freeman Whitfield. And back in 2018, he got booked on drug charges. Freeman Whitfield was worried that the cops were going to flip Antonio Boyd so they could take down the whole operation. So in December 2019, Freeman Whitfield slid on Antonio Boyd and shot him to death. The feds were already watching Freeman Whitfield and Guy Goolsby, but murdering Antonio Boyd was what sparked the whole downfall. In 2020, the DEA planted an undercover fed who bought fentanyl from Freeman Whitfield. Then they raided the crew's stash houses and found $1.5 million cash, 25 kilos of cocaine, 3 kilos of fentanyl, 10 kilos of heroin, and enough guns to start a war. After the
Keys is hell
investigation was
with
over,
damn.
Guy Goolsby got hit with 150 months in prison and would probably come home in a few years. But Freeman Whitfield had the murder charge and got sentenced to life plus 10 years. The drug game brought all kinds of violence to St. Louis. But another thing that made the streets turn up was when Michael Brown was murdered by the police back in 2014. Michael Brown, aka Big Mike, got into a fight with a cop named Darren Wilson in a St. Louis suburb called Ferguson. It started when Mike Brown allegedly reached into a cop car that Darren Wilson was in, and 2 shots ended up going off. Mike Brown and his homie ran off. Then Darren Wilson chased Mike Brown and ended up killing him. A lot of people thought Darren Wilson murdered Mike Brown, even though he was putting his hands up and asked Darren Wilson to not shoot. And the killing sparked a huge protest in Ferguson. People were rioting in the streets like crazy because they thought the cops killed Mike Brown for no reason. So St. Louis had to send almost all their police to Ferguson so they could try and control the situation. But while the cops were all in Ferguson dealing with the protests and riots, the rest of the city turned up even more. Dirty Deep Grimy said, you can go start on your ops on the west side, downtown, or wherever else, because all the cops were in Ferguson and couldn't respond to any shootings in the rest of the city.
You can do anything in the city because everybody was in Ferguson County at the time, fucking it up. So you can go downtown and kill your enemy. Go kill your enemy on the west side. Police ain't coming because all the fucking police is in Ferguson. You can straight rob everything in the city right now or kill anybody you want to kill because everybody was in Ferguson at the time.
A lot of cities have problems with gang violence, but St. Louis also has a wild issue with gangs from Bosnia, and it led to one of the most brutal murders in the city. Bosnia is a tiny country in Europe, and most people have no idea that it has ties to St. Louis. Back in the 90s, Bosnia was involved in a crazy war, and a lot of Bosnians left the country so they wouldn't get killed. The Bosnians started coming to St. Louis because it was easy to find jobs and the rent was cheap. And now St. Louis has the largest number of Bosnians outside of Europe. Most of them were just trying to survive, but some of the Bosnians got active in the trenches too. And in 2014, a Bosnian American named Samir Bergic was brutally beaten to death with hammers by 4 teenagers. At first, rumors were flying that Samir Bergic repped a Bosnian gang. And then some people thought it was a hate crime because he was a white Bosnian and the teenagers who killed him were all black and Latino. It was one of the most violent murders in the city. Now we're going to break down the stories from St. Louis that are so brutal that most people don't even want to hear about them. Back in 2016, a woman named Pam Hupp called the cops and said that a dude named Louis Gumpenberger tried to kidnap her and put a knife to her throat. When the cops rode up to Pam's house, they found Louis Gumpenberger dead inside Pam's house. And she told them that she had to shoot Louis because he came at her like a madman. At first it looked like a simple self-defense case, but then a week after it went down, Pam Hupp got hit with the murder charge. When the cops came to pick her up, Pam asked to use the bathroom before they put her in cuffs. The cops let her go to the bathroom, and that's when Pam tried to slice her own neck and wrist open with a ballpoint pen. It turned out Pam wasn't some innocent woman who got attacked. She was actually a brutal murderer who had already killed her mom and best friend. Pam stabbed her best friend 55 times and then blames it on her friend's husband. And she also pushed her own mom off of a balcony so she can get insurance money. Pam Hupp's case was wild, but this next dude might have killed over 20 women. Maury Travis came up in St. Louis and was living in Ferguson when the cops arrested him for killing Alicia Greenwade and Betty James. When the cops raided his crib, they also found a tape that showed Maury Travis torturing and murdering one of the women. But that was only the beginning of the story. It turned out that Maury Travis was a serial killer who had been picking up prostitutes and murdering them. The body started turning up in 2001, and the St. Louis Post-Dispatch wrote a story about one of the victims. After the story came out, Maury Travis sent them a letter and gave a map to where the cops could find another body. In the letter, Maury Travis claimed he had killed 17 women, but some people think his body count was even higher than that. We'll never know how many people he really killed though, because Maury Travis killed himself in jail before his trial could start. St. Louis used to be the murder capital of America, but the violence is actually starting to slow down a little bit. In 2022, the FBI reported that violent crime in the city was lower than it had been in 10 years. But then just 1 year later, the crime rate went up again and is still one of the deadliest cities in the country. Between the gangs, the serial killers, and other random murderers, St. Louis is the kind of place where you can get killed anytime and anywhere.
Let's discuss my payment.
That time is past. No 5,000 for you.
The price is 50.
How about your payment is you get to leave?
Not enough.
Now you think you can negotiate with me? I say the word, my nephews go to a certain motel, pay a visit to your daughter-in-law and your little granddaughter. What do you think happens then? Consider your position carefully.
I got my money. Or neither of us walk out of here.
You willing to die for this?
Maybe I need the 50,000 more than you do.
Never quitting at the halfway mark. Some people wander through the dark on the path they chart, cutting the corners off, thinking the fast way smart, but pushing through when shit gets slow, that takes heart. Fully committed, giving the proof to critics. I never will lose interest. My fuel's infinite. I line my shots up, then swing. Use them physics, keep it rolling on the green through the grooves and divots. Now we rolling all the green. Get it on par with the pros. Parameters will expand, so the farther I go, the larger it grows. I reach for the quill, draw the bow. Any target I chose. Come on. Woke up this morning, I chose to go get it. Look in the mirror, I see a pro in it. Look at the future, I see there's no limit. Y'all just a bin it, I want the whole damn lane. Yeah!
Is it Missouri to Oklahoma? Or is that Ohio? That's OH. Okay. So anyways, y'all already know. As soon as I get this to pause, I said pause. Don't do it. Shouts out to the Ride Along gang. Y'all know we subbed up. I'm gonna leave that thumbs up though. Cause we had to go over here and stop our Rumble video. Cause you know, we ain't taking Rumble in there with us. So ain't no point in leaving that video running. But for y'all know we get to take y'all with us to 10-2 into the green room. Cause you know, we an hour and 30 minutes into the video. And now your indoor garden consultant is finna show you his indoor garden. You gotta stop, pay attention, show me some love, and then I'll show you the garden, and then we'll get your shit working. Shouts out to your shit working, because that's what it's going to be coming up. What we got working for you, you dig? Shouts out to them consultation, because hell, we'll get you hooked up. Get you some of them Son of O&C Company genetics, and have you running part of the auto army also, you dig? You'll be like, man, Bear sent them autos. I grew them. I'll be like, yeah, I sold you the system to do it. It's easy. Shouts out to you. Shit, we can get you that consultation. Have you up to start running whatever you trying to run. Hell, what you need? Buckets, hydrogen. Okay, I pull up with all of that shit. All of that shit they pull up with, just for you. Then you start, you grow. Shouts out to y'all growing motherfuckers, right? Yeah, let's see. Some of them look like they ain't too happy from that water change out, which sucks for them. So if they don't make it, they don't make it. You know how I am. When it's time to change water and you don't like it, hey, it's sink or swim. Yeah, if they ain't swimming, they ain't gonna make it. That be the problem, though. I be too quick to just let them go ahead and do what they gonna do. If you don't die and not make it, that's not my fault. I changed the water. Hell, what can I say? Let's see. Shout out to the balloons. Yeah, we put the balloons from our 420 basket / bag. We got a 420 bag, I should say. I ain't doing Easter this year, but I did get an Easter bag, an event bag with some things in there for me, since 420 is one of my holidays, right? Right. I'm growing 420 plants right here. Indoor gardener reveals indoor 420 plants. And for whatever reason, I forgot to bring my damn phone holder in here for whatever reason. I gotta get another one there. 2 of them, so I ain't gotta worry about taking it nowhere. I don't think I was gonna keep y'all out of the garden too long though. Show y'all what's cracking. We had a lot of garden videos this week coming up, so plenty of garden time for you. You see what I'm saying? Be like, well, he don't show plants. I'll have some all plant videos coming up for you. There you go. Short's gonna be active. You'll be like, well, damn. Now he done showed us what all he had in the house. Stop by tent 2. Y'all know tent 1 is outside of your light time in the morning, so you gotta catch me on a Wednesday evening to see tent 1, or go to the Instagram and catch the pics over there, because they over there. When I take my pics in the morning, I'll be like, yep. Yeah, post these on Instagram some days, because it ain't every day that I post them, because that's my business. You gotta keep something a mystery. Then let people know, hey, have you seen tent 1? Tell me about it. Go ahead. Leave comments about that versus me burping. I'm sorry, Fred, you're a real person. Yes, we all have real person tendencies. It happens. But yeah, that's the green room. You see, we got our plant type over there holding down the room. As far as, repping the team, earth style plants, whatever you want to say, you know how we do. Green team go. Speaking of green things, we got a couple strawberries over there too. I know they ready for some water. Like, yeah, you ain't been in here this morning. Where you been, Playboy? Boy, where you been? Where you been, boy? Hey, come kick it with your homie. Come drop that bread bag off. It was only supposed to be a net 30 account. Your ass is trying to get into the net 90s. Talk that business talk on them. Y'all already should have known we got on our Super Saturday drip So, you know, we got some Dragon Balls over here. Shout out to your boy, though. We're going to keep these genetics popping, hopefully. Hopefully most of this shit bounces back that didn't look good after it got its water transitioned. But hell, we'll figure it out. We might have to figure it out, bust out the old pH pen. But for now, we're just watching to see what the fuck they do. Hell, as long as they don't all the way die, they can take a slap to the face. They can take a quick slap to the face, but hell, you see how it goes. That's exactly what it be whenever you doing shit. You'll figure it out along the way. Yeah, it was time for a water change, and they got their waters completely changed. And now you're seeing the side effects of growing, because then you'll be like, well, damn, should I just left the motherfuckers alone? Who knows? But hell, the rest of them that are still looking good, they're not complaining, are they? Yeah, that one got his slaps in there like, yeah, we doing our thing. Yeah, kind of fuck it. Yeah, I'm really not happy. Yeah, hey, guess what? It's the circle of life. Boom, that short dog over there is like, yeah, I'm cool. It seems like the taller ones are the ones that didn't really like it, so yeah. Them short ones are like, yeah, except for that one right there trying to squat low. Shout out to the low squatters, though. We appreciate that. We don't need too tall of a lady in a tent when it's time to go in, but we do like them tall sometimes, right? Yeah, they can go ahead and grow up. We want to see what your potential is. Hell, especially with these all being autos, you know, they ain't even going to get topped. So you want to grow little Christmas trees, and hopefully they get a nice set of secondaries that grew in. Do you some favor and get you some multiple top syndromes going on in places. Yeah, we like them thick. Just don't be 30 pounds overweight thick. Unless it's 30 pounds of my weight thick. You dig? Shout out to them thick ladies, because we going to keep them in the garden. Wet Plantings 2025 and beyond, you dig? We going to keep that one going. Hell, we thought it was just a once in a while back in 2023, but hell, you know, that's the same year we started the business, so I don't know what we was thinking, talk about we ain't gonna do this. Yeah, but we are. Hell, it'd be like that. I got this one over here in this cup. Surprisingly, it popped after I tried to put that money tree in that cup. See if it was gonna fucking, see if it makes it, because, you know, it had got roots in the cloner. So then I transferred it back into the soil and put it in the cup. And we'll see what happens with it in a couple months. If it makes it, it does. If it didn't, it didn't. But hell, this popped up in the cup because I threw it in the DG cup that the genetics came out of that you see out here. So we had a scraggler that took a little while to pop and get ready to go. Now it's like, what up, big homie? I'm popped out that cup. I'm ready to go. He's trying to get in a pot one of these days. And since I have that one right there almost available, it might just be that one. You dig? That real estate. Got to fill up these spaces. I do got 2 empty holes, but those are also used in case I need to move something and check some water or some stuff like that. So you got to have an extra bucket or 2 available for per areas you're trying to move stuff around with, right? Shouts out to you for looking after you, though. Yeah, you got to get in there and put in that work. Them dragon fruits, man, they finna be some work, because now they starting to get some size to them on some of them. So, but hell, I don't think I'm getting out to do many events this year, because I kind of told you I was 2025. That's the homework year, so I ain't too worried about being out doing events. Although, if I do be out, you know, we're going to cover what we out doing, though. Shout out to being a Google Maps content dropper over there, because, you know, we almost had our million view mark over on the Google side. So I said we actually double played Google, so you know how we get it from them. They're gonna hit us with our accreditation somewhere. Like, man, you done got over 1 million views. Man, your reviews are good. People actually like the places you go. Da 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 da. Yeah, that's because I know how to do that part of the game. Shit. Now, anytime they searching their favorite place, they see my SEO pop up too. Shouts out to me for being out there doing what it do. I could be at home 1 year, and then every other year I'm gonna be gone. Or might be a couple years I figure out, hey, it might be my enemy year. I had this down this year. But popcorn, you're a doc to chill out in the snake year. Because the way my shit's set up, I'm my own enemy. So things that are supposed to be good for me are usually me bringing it to being bad against me. Look at Short Dog over there. That bug is thick and got some nice secondaries already pre-started. That one's like just growing it right. Like, yeah, we don't have you popcorn. We got you. We got you. Yeah, but shout out to the big homie, like I said, Bear Miller over at Son of Odin Seed Company. I'll see the logo right there. You see the logo, and you know what they said. Hey, you definitely get let in Valhalla if you die between her legs. So we definitely trying to be dying between some wet planties legs out here. You dig? That's what we'll be. 2025 and beyond, baby. But anyways, I ain't gonna hold y'all up all day because hey, I mean, it's Easter weekend, so you might have some eggs to be painting or something. But if not, hit the replay. You dig? Or the playlist. Shout out to the playlist because it's already 500 videos deep. We'll keep you busy. If you ain't had nothing to do, kick it with your boy though.